And so now let's hear directly from our school sites and districts. And we're going to take a little journey. Each district has about 8 to 10 minutes to present some slides on digital literacy. And so we're going to start off with Santa Clara Unified.
Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Rothstein, and I am the Innovation TOSA for Santa Clara Unified.
I'm Joe Ayala. I'm the Director of Technology for Santa Clara Unified.
And welcome to our showcase. We're so happy to be here. Our team was comprised of both Joe and myself, as well as Rochelle Burnside started this journey with us at the very beginning, and she's our secondary ELA, HSS, and AVID TOSA. And she had quite an interesting perspective as someone who works directly with classroom teachers that are our core teachers at different secondary school sites. Our group, what we'll talk to a lot in our journey is that you'll notice that we have groups that are not specific people. We have listed people underneath, but that's something that we'll speak to, is that we learned throughout our process that our team needed to expand. And so we expanded our team based on cohorts and committees that both Joe and I are leaders of already, because we found that that would be a model that could help propel this forward. So the committees that, again, we'll speak to in a little bit are the EdTech committee, the innovation cohort, and our makerspace leader cohort. And I'll let Joe speak to a little bit about why we joined.
So one of the key things is we had some major initiatives, and we realized we couldn't do this alone, and we really wanted to be incorporating the digital literacy component of this. We were starting the EdTech committee, restarting it from at Santa Clara. We were building this innovation cohort that combined tech makeover, coaching, and professional developments. And then we really wanted digital literacy to be key aspects of each of one of those cohorts. And then one of the key things that we realized with the digital literacy is as we looked at, if I look at it from a technology lens, if Stephanie looks at it from EdTech, our innovation, our STEAM, we're only grasping just a part of it. We really wanted this model to try in different cohorts to see how we can encompass it throughout the whole district. We realized in our next step, when I did the assessment, you think of Santa Clara Unified, where I have NVIDIA like a block away, I have Apple campus right next to it, and we're like, okay, we really got digital down. We are innovative, we are far ahead of everyone. Well, when we did the assessment, we saw, wow, we have a lot of areas that we need to grow on. It was a really great self-assessment to see where we are and where we need to go. And we really appreciated that tool to understand the key challenges that we're facing at Santa Clara Unified.
So when it came to our roadmap, first and foremost, I have to say that the tool for building this roadmap was really wonderful. And so I just want to share some gratitude around the tool itself, because I felt like it was really thoughtful in the way that it was put together and helping us to really map out where we wanted to go. The focus of that roadmap, as everyone's is in this cohort, is going to be around equity, instruction, and professional development. We found as a general area that our focus of where we needed to begin was actually in professional development. And so after looking at, we have pieces built out in the roadmap that align to all three of those areas, but we found that where we think that will make the most sense for us to start our next steps and where we currently are is actually beginning with the people who need to be doing the work. And then from there, we can focus on instruction and equity. And so that has been something that has helped us reframe the way that we are moving forward in this cohort. I think that's something else that I spoke, that we have spoken very openly with Stephanie and Jason around, is that a lot of our journey here has been to us figuring out what will help lead to more success in Santa Clara and what have been kind of the barriers or the pain points in our district for moving some of these initiatives forward. So our next slide speaks to that specifically, that we started to realize that we can't just do this work alone, that Joe and I are here representing Santa Clara, but in order for us to move this forward, it's impossible for us to do it just the two of us. And so that's really what led us to what we'll talk about in the next slide, and weaving in what we were doing with each of those groups. And I'll let Joe speak to the quote that has impacted him a lot on this.
So often you do these things, you join these programs, you try these frameworks, we do all these different things to help instruction, help classrooms, help students overall. But this quote hit me really hard this year because like, is what I'm doing having an impact? But here's what one of our teachers shared. After last year, I wasn't sure if I was ready to continue teaching, but this cohort has reaffirmed my love of teaching and helped me feel excited about learning and trying new things in my classroom. So it's a big, big win.
So that teacher was a part of the innovation cohort. So we thought we would take our time to explain to you some of the 3 areas that we really were working deeply on this year that we intend to expand on for next year. And through each of these 3 places, we're going to be infusing the work that is coming out of the roadmap. And so that's the way that we're working on it. We spoke a little bit earlier today about this, but that our approach is going to be that through these 3 places and more, we hope to expand this, but at the start, through these 3, then we hope to move through some of the initiatives and weave them into what we're doing in these places. So the innovation cohort, the setup of this cohort was that Joe and his team in technology outfitted 15 classrooms at the middle school level across the school district. And we started specifically with middle school because 1, they were in the most need. And also we thought that it would be a space that if we were building out lessons that they could both be they could be backwards mapped to grades below, and then they could be expanded for grades above. And so the idea of this cohort was that the technology needed partnership. So they built out classrooms, changed the technology. I'll let Joe speak to the specific technology, and then I'll continue on with talking about what we did with it.
So for technology, I called it the tech makeover. We put an 86-inch flat panel screen in their classroom, connected with an Apple TV, an iPad. But I think what I could put the technology in, and I could put technology in classrooms all day, but really what made the impact was Stephanie's coaching. I'll let her continue with that part.
Oh, and the other piece was they outfitted the sound, and the teachers had a microphone. And so then my role was actually to develop, we got together at least 5 times, if not more, in person, full days throughout the year, where I oversaw what we were doing in terms of professional learning. We brought in experts, we taught, and then we worked together with our cohort to actually have our cohort members facilitating sessions. And I think that those were pieces that were key to professional learning, to making it successful. So our cohort leaders, they stood up, we called them our light bulb talks. And so they were given an iPad. We asked that every time we met together in person or virtually, we had some virtual after school sessions as well, so that we were together at least once a month. They were presenting on a topic of their choice, utilizing the technology that they had on any topic. And that really changed the impact of this cohort. So then you had teachers teaching other teachers about what has been successful in their own classroom. And we found that what was shared in those moments actually spread much faster than some of the other things when we were bringing in other people. And then the goal of the cohort was that they each had to develop 3 units or lesson plans. And then those had to be aligned to standards. We brought in ISTE standards. We are infusing what we would like to see in terms of the tech and digital citizenship rollout. But all of those were brought up as areas of focus in their building out of their plans. So it became just a natural way. And then we had them reflect on those and what they want to change or shift for next year. The second one was our makerspace leader cohort. And we actually had one of our teachers here, Nicole, who participated in a program this year through KCI and learned about badging digital. She wanted to create a badging system for the makerspace. What that led us, we had a makerspace community of practice, and now we're expanding it. We realized that our makerspace leaders, not every school has a makerspace or a makerspace leader. They don't have a community to learn from one another. So we're having a makerspace leader cohort for next year, and that group is going to be building out lesson plans for every grade level. And again, all of those will be aligned to our framework and to our plan that we're building out. And then the last one.
So then one of the key areas is after COVID, we've adopted a lot of digital tools, and we need to properly assess how they fit in. I think one thing that ShiftED has highlighted us is do an assessment of where we currently stand, and then a roadmap. And so with that assessment and roadmap and understanding where we are and where we need to go, I could build in modules like this VATT framework that is like, do more. How do we do more with technology? Not do more. We're not asking the teacher to do more, of course, but how do we make it so that it actually has an impact? How can we do better? How can we do something that we use technology to do it more efficiently? And then one aspect that I see is often missing from most frameworks, especially, is how do we do new? There's a lot of like innovative ideas that we don't want to like squash because, oh, it doesn't fit in a box that, you know, a box that doesn't exist yet. So how do we move past and do more, do better, and do new?
And then our last piece, in terms of our next steps, we want to continue to expand on the cohorts that we have. Really, the second one I think is our most important. We want to be building out that framework. And what we've specifically talked about is how do we do this in a way that's sustainable? And so we've talked about that maybe we can't do it all at once. So we're going to be building it out for elementary. And then we have all the people in all of those groups represent all grade levels, but that our goal will be to be publishing something at the elementary level that then gets implemented and we get feedback on as we build up from there, and then continuing with professional development in specific areas related to digital literacy, citizenship, and AI.
And then with a large district, it's very easy to get into different silos. We found this with ShiftED and the cohort model allowed us to really make some significant changes in a very large district, in a very political district, that had a great impact on our classrooms. Thank you.
Are there any questions out there for Santa Clara Unified? We have time for maybe one or two questions. And any folks in video land have any questions?
You mentioned using Macs in your
Yes. So at Santa Clara Unified, we are device agnostic. So the teacher gets to choose. The teacher wants to use a Windows laptop. We have a system to support that. Teacher wants to use an Apple laptop. We have a system to support that. The reason why I made that decision is I was seeing that when I first came into Santa Clara Unified is our standard teacher machine was often left in a closet and people were buying their own machines. And the thing that deeply concerned me was student data on personal machines. So let's listen to where the teachers are at and what they actually will use, and let's build a system that supports that.
And our students are issued, every student has a Chromebook. So we do have Chromebooks in the classroom along with then other teacher devices.
All right. Thank you. Again, thank you, Santa Clara Unified.